Good morning to my loyal audience on the Savage Nation, but this is an appeal to President Putin. I wrote it last night because the world is in a perilous state. Everyone is screaming for war, and very few are calling for peace. The lunatics in the European Union, the lunatics in NATO are arming themselves to the teeth. Will that lead to peace? When has arming yourself to the teeth ever led to peace? Now, before I go on, let me be clear. This nightmare has to end. Unless something is done, this bloodbath will get out of control and we will have either a full-blown World War III or a short version, the annotated version. So let me begin with a direct appeal. One man, just one man, virtually unknown except to his own audience, one man in America, an appeal to President Putin. You say, well, what good is this going to do? Are you that foolish to believe that your little YouTube piece is going to change the course of human history? No, not at all. I don't believe that that's going to change the course of human history. But if 1 billion of us were to think peace and appeal to Mr. Putin for peace, we just might have a chance to save the world from this lunacy, like lemmings were rushing over the cliff of insanity. So let me begin again with a direct appeal to President Putin. I wrote it last night. It's simple. It's a few hundred words, and I'll read it. To save the world from what the political parties have caused, Mr. Putin, I personally, one man, I'm appealing to you, and I hope 1 billion others appeal for peace. To save the world from what the political parties in this world have created and caused. This nightmare has to end. Unless something is done, this bloodbath will get out of control. Diplomats are supposed to work for peace. Instead, they're working for war. Mr. Putin, it's said that fools rush in where angels fear to tread. Jesus said, blessed are the peacemakers. The great Jewish sage Maimonides in the 1300s said, he who saves a single life, it is as though he has saved the entire world. Mr. Putin, a dove of peace would not ask for the surrender of Ukraine. That's not what I'm appealing for, Mr. Putin. President Putin, you yourself have said Ukraine is part of Russia, and the Ukrainian people are just like Russians. You said they are Russians. Mr. Putin, would you expect your own people to surrender? For the sake of peace, to save the lives of Russians and Ukrainians, give peace a chance. President Putin, the world is watching. The world is watching. You alone have the power to save the world or destroy the world. Do you choose for the world death or life? Do you choose Jesus or ashes? Mr. Putin, like Moses, you have the power to part the Red Sea and lead the world to safety, to peace. Frankly, only you can do it. This is an appeal for all and none. It's written only on my behalf. I do not pretend to speak for others. My belief and hope, Mr. Putin, is that if 1 billion of us appealed for peace, we could possibly stop this mad rush towards World War III. Mr. Putin, please choose life. And now a few words from my loyal followers. Many of you are mistaken and think by appealing to Mr. Putin, we are kowtowing to a Hitler. Nothing could be further from the truth. You've been brainwashed. And let me remind you of something else. All of you running around with your virtue signaling F. Putin bumper stickers, you left-wing liars, you. You liars, you. You pretended you were anti-war when America was at war. And now what you want is blood and war. You want death and destruction. Let me remind you of something, all of you listening to this short little broadcast. Insults of world leaders never worked. Mao Zedong, the greatest butcher in the history of the world, who killed 50 to 60 million of his own people. Even President Nixon reached out to him and spoke of him in a dignified manner to stop a nuclear war. Stalin, one of the greatest butchers in history, was fondly called Uncle Joe by FDR and spoken of nicely by Winston Churchill, not because they liked Stalin, but because they appealed to Stalin. So those of you who live in the little world of Fox News and like to think that you're keyboard warriors, I tell you, you are of no significance in this world. Again, I'll close by saying this is meant for one man, really. Whether he'll ever see it is another story. I doubt it. But I know this. All of us have to think of and dream of and work for one thing only: peace, peace, peace. You get it? Not more weapons, not airplanes, not tanks, not bombs. They kill. And they will not stop him. Only he can stop himself. Only he can come to a revelation of how to make this work for both parties. And in case you missed it, I'll say it again, because I know I will be misinterpreted by the liars who have tried to undermine my message of borders, language, and culture for the last 30 years. All you good leftists who are willing to have other people's sons and husbands and brothers and uncles die for your stupidity to protect the borders, language, and culture of Ukraine, a place you don't even know where it is, while your own country is being overrun. Your borders have been melted down. Your language has been bastardized and your culture has been stepped on. And where were you when this happened? You were cheering it on. I'll close by repeating what I said earlier. A dove of peace would not ask for the surrender of Ukraine. That is not what I'm asking for. This is a direct appeal to President Putin. I hope he gets to hear this, and I hope he understands that I'm one of a billion people on this earth who want peace, not war. April 9th, 2022, somewhere near San Francisco. I'm Michael Savage.